So this guy walks past my neighbor, right? Gun in hand. Thank fucking Christ that he didn't take a shot at her. Goes into the building, goes up to the second floor right there, about 30 yards, 50 yards away from my bedroom pillow, and dude starts shooting. People are dead. And that was only a few hours ago. I mean, what do you do with the rest of your day? You know, it's fascinating to me that the world keeps turning. It should skip a beat, right? It should skip a beat when someone dies. Yeah, I know. Then the whole world would be constantly hiccuping. But I mean, where did we learn it from? To be both shocked in some way. We're always shocked. We're always whatever. I don't know. You're gonna have to fucking bear with me on this one. This has got fucking fifth try I've tried to do this thing. Because I was gonna do something else. I had a whole outline thing. It seems to be a trend in my shoes. In my shoes. Just that we lost a family here. Actually, oh my god. I mean, we lost a mother and her two daughters when some motherfucker ran a light and ran right into them as they were turning into our island. And he wiped all three of them out. They eventually caught him. Whoops, sorry there. The apartment here remains dark, you know? I can't imagine other people like living there. It's crazy. So death. Death. I guess, right? We do death. I'm totally not ready to do this, but I feel I need to do something. I got so many competing energies. I don't know what I'm generating. I don't know what life around me is up to. Believe me, a lot of things are shitty. Pero a lot of things are fucking great. But it's just been a shit morning. And I got all ergy and, you know, I think I said 2 words that were a little too loud. My wife was like, "Okay, this is the guy that I don't want to be around no more for the time being until he can pull down those 2 words from their high volume status and make them a little more cheerful." I don't know. I was gonna talk about like when's the first time we think about death? When's the first time we're turned on to it? Right? It's our parents. Is it them telling us about like family members who've already passed away? Is that when we first really learn about death? We just know like some people we never met, or at least don't remember, are now just not with us and won't be for the duration of our lives. Is it there? Is it school when we see, you know, born da 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 da, and then dad da 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 da? When we see those tombstone year thing. Is that where? Do we see that at the house, at our house too? Maybe something. I don't know. Reading a magazine, reading what were they TV guides back then. Uh, um, I can't really put my finger on when uh when cause I'm like, cause I also didn't know sex then either. You know. So what was sex feeling like? That's good, Travis. Put death and sex together. That'll make a barga da bomba. I'm just trying to put the pieces together, and I'm doing this here with you. Maybe I should have done the work before, but the time opened where I could do this, so I'm just doing it. But I don't know. It's a question for you. Like, when did you figure it out? Was it really early on? Excuse me while I land this plane. In the bay. Uh, because I just couldn't pinpoint it. I keep seeing like my mom telling me about her mom already passed away. I just remember being like really like ticked off. Like, what the fuck is that about? Like, weren't they supposed to be here for us so they can, or so she can, fulfill her role as my great grandma or whatever? Like, I remember being kind of like ticked off already. Like, what the fuck? Like, huh? When I was young, kind of. Um, And see, the problem is, like when I was watching the A Team, the old TV show, nobody ever dies. So if you're in a if you're in a jeep with three other of your bad guy buddies, and Mr. T takes a bazooka and fires it at your jeep, the jeep's gonna like fly up into the air, but so are all the guys, and very much alive, and they all land, and they don't really pay. They don't like stay on that they're still alive, you know. But we all know. I mean, it's kind of a thing about the A Team that they just never show anybody die. Really, there might have been two people who died on that show, and it went a few seasons. Uh, so that didn't let me know anything further about things. Um, hmm. But then also I was into the macabre, right? Not like a goth person, but like a Disney haunted mansion macabre person, like Universal monster movies and such. And that was all stuff about life after death, right? A lot of it's Drink for Me and You Will Live, Frankenstein's put together by all other pieces of other people, electrified, boom, he's back, bride's back, Creature of the Black Lagoon's just chilling. Uh, so I didn't really make the connection there either. And I wasn't really watching gruesome stuff. I was watching all these. I wonder if that's what my parents did to kind of keep me sheltered, was put me on to these all these old classics where they wouldn't go hard on the death side, even though it was vampires and you know what I'm talking about. You do. Just don't give me shit. Don't give me shit. I'm doing the best I can. Uh, Hopefully there's like one laugh out of this fucking thing. I'm just sitting here. I'm drinking my coffee. I have a list. I mean, I have a breakdown of kind of what I wanted to be up to. Just did it kind of quickly, or at least single out a few people that I wanted to talk about. Um, that were like the big ones, the big headlines. Um, but it's so weird. I mean, my wife and I talk about this not even talk about this. I mean, experience this, almost daily, man. I mean, it is weekly. Like, shit, it's weekly. And this is something where it felt like your grandparents would experience the, oh my gosh, Barbara just passed away. Oh dear, the dear, she was 77. Oh boy, and oh Jack, he had finally had his heart attack, and it was like that. It's kind of normal, but that was around the age where, at least from I remember when I was a kid, like that would be around the age where these people's friends were passing away. Holy shit! I mean, definitely with social media, we have exponentially blown that fucking curve wide open. You know, it's incredible. You were able to live in a small town, maybe, I don't know, 30 years ago, and throughout your lifetime, you might know 20 people who passed away. Like, know them. And then you have your celebrities and shit like that. But maybe that was about it. And you wouldn't really hear about anybody else's deaths, really. Um, and then now, I mean, 30 years later, we hear about 20 people dying every day. And I'm not, I'm not being facetious or hyperbolic. Uh, I'm right. It's like, my fucking, it's gross. It's spooky. It's the algorithm for my Google feed. I'll just have death after death after death after death after death. Like, and I'm going, I'm not seeking this shit out. Like, why do you keep throwing it my way? I think it's just that bad. Or what I look into, the stuff that I look into, or maybe I look through too much stuff, and so then I get sent too many of these things, that maybe I wouldn't have been able to have looked into this stuff if I didn't have the World Wide Web. You see, if I just had the TV Guide, Time Magazine, and the obituaries, that was about it. That was about it. I think it kept things. It kept things more safe for your thoughts when you're exposed to this stuff. And now just all bets are off. And I don't know if we have. Our minds are are saturated. And not only deaths of people who are fairly young, but suicides. Like a motherfucker. I think that's a whole other topic. Like, death's one thing, suicide's another. I think I'm going to get into suicide on a... just you wait, folks. In a few episodes down the line, we'll be talking about suicide. So... I think it really hits you when there's someone that's been in your life for a while, and you become good friends or whatever. I think it's not until you've actually had somebody in your life and experience life with them that when they go, I think that's the first domino. Because you just can't wrap your head around it. Well, I can't wrap my head around it when I've known someone for 42 years. So what am I trying to say? Hey, I'm gonna make mistakes. I don't have everything. I'm not all these smart motherfuckers that do this shit for a living and are, they all know jujitsu for some reason. Uh, I took some classes. I have my gi. It's hanging up. Um, I just move in slow motion. Mm. So it's not till you know someone, right? Well, there used to be this dude, a friend of my father's. His name's Keith. Keith was to a young boy. Keith was a magician. He was able to like build anything, install anything. Like just he's just one of those guys. You remember your dad having one of those guys around, right? So he's working on shit or whatever, and they're gonna have beers and come back and where. I like idolized this dude. He let me fucking. I forget how old I was. Was I 10? Maybe. Excuse me. Let me back up my bedroom. Idolized him, and he let me watch everything. I remember my parents had him install a hardcore alarm system in the house. Like it's almost like from scratch. Um, Excuse me, wait a minute. Nope, kitchen's not. Okay, there we go. Kitchen's in place. There you are. Sorry. All right. Uh, Len motherfucking beep and took me out of my shit. What the oh, this is a pretty vulgar episode. Hmm? Yeah, I'm hearing myself curse a little, a little more than usual. I'm telling you, this isn't for you. It's for me, and I don't think if I if I wasn't doing this right now, what the hell? Is this a distraction or is this an investment? Mm. Mm. Anyway, Keith would let me watch him make everything. I went under my house, which I never would have done without him. Uh, he made me feel like I could. He made me feel like I can do what he could. It's so strange. He gave me like a electricity tester. I think if I'm saying that right, a voltage. Jeez, electricity tester. You want to test electricity? Just fucking turn on the light. Okay, how many houses are backing up right now? Jeez, I hope that wasn't somebody's EKG meter. Because now they're not with us. Huh. Rather fitting. So, I remember kid sat me one night. I don't think my sister was there or whatever, but he let me watch like a dope movie my parents wouldn't let me watch. I'm sure they wouldn't have. It was with Dolph Lundgren. It was called I Come in Peace. Was Rutger Hauer in that? I forget. Dope rated R movie. Highly recommend it. Um, so he's like, that dude, like, don't tell your parents, but yeah, we can watch this. Like, oh, fuck yeah, cool. So I felt like I was like the center of the universe. I mean, like, I felt like he made me feel like an adult. You know, he adulted me. Usually that means another thing. But it was cool as shit. Never touched me, never nothing. Fucking, remember the days when adults didn't touch children? Da, 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 da. God. Ooh, okay. Okay, Roig Rage, I see you. I see you. And so one day the family was my family was going over to my grandparents' house. My aunt lived next door. And we were all getting together. And I don't remember who told me. I can't imagine my dad would have had. Maybe he did. I remember like taking a picture with him after, just like a hi picture after finding out that Keith had unfortunately Um, he fell asleep at the wheel, and his car went straight under the back of a like semi truck, and I don't know if you know what happens to cars when they do that. They lose the entire top off of their car. So you can imagine what happened to Keith. The world did not hiccup. No, that was, he was a friend of the family. So I would say there's, I don't know, a marginal difference, maybe not, of, a friend versus blood, you know? And, um, I may be wrong, but the first one who was family, who I watched decay, was my grandfather, my mom's dad, and my mom's mom had already taken off, and that's with parentheses taken off, like she'd already passed. Like hearing about my mom's mom was just weird. It's just, you don't know what to, you like see pictures, but they're not like vibrant, Polaroid pictures. They're kind of like, I don't know, black and white and little ghosty. I don't know. So I'm not making the connection there, but when my grandfather, her father, um, insane. He's a pharmacist of 40 years, right? Owned his own pharmacy. Then in his later years, just worked for a pharmacy, take the sort of the pressure off and everything. And he, the day that he, the last day that he was working, the last day he was working, he left the pharmacy. He walked across the parking lot. He tripped over a curb, fell, went to the hospital, told he has, you guessed it, fucking cancer. And I don't know how long it took. I don't remember. I remember seeing him and seeing what that does up close. Sweet man. Sweet man. Probably never raised his voice on two words. Ever. Um, I remember seeing him, and I remember him sitting there in a chair in some condo in Fort Lauderdale, right, in the patio. And he was sitting there, and I was trying to make some space or something or whatever, and I fucking stepped on his toe, and he was like, ah, and I knew in my head, I'm like, you just fucked up a dying man's toe. Like, that's on you, Trav. Way to go. I don't think my body's recovered from the shock, the temperature change. I mean, this is 25 years ago. I don't think I've recovered. Shit, it's 25 years ago and I'm still talking about it. And he's very weak. Talk about slow motion, right? The way he moved. Kind man. We get the call on a Wednesday. I remember this. I remember it's a Wednesday because I was told that he had passed, and I was supposed to go to night school. I was 17, 18. supposed to go to oh man, I kind of reversed some things around, like the chronology. Mhm. Um, I remember hearing about it. I remember going for a walk. I probably was saying like motherfucker. And I didn't go to night school, but I remember I gave my boy my number to give to a girl that I was crushing on, and felt like the power of death, of going, well, fuck it, like just give it to her, and see what fucking happens, which wouldn't have happened if my grandfather maybe wouldn't have gone so soon. Um, I think that was the only like positive that came out of a death around me. That the girl got my number. She called me that night. Um, I don't know why, but I had to explain to her that I was still a virgin. That was not fun. Um, I don't know how we got to talking about that, but we got to talking, as teens tend to do. And yeah, and actually things kicked off with her for a while because of it. Obviously, it didn't go anywhere, but she took care of that problem I had in the sexy department. Hmm. I forgot. I kind of like jumped around because I forgot my boy Lance. Lance and his sister were like me and my sister when we were growing up and going to all the little like town things and school. We knew each other from school and fun club and all this stuff. And this was in high school, and uh, and I had known Lance for I don't know how many years, from 15 years. Because I just always remember him and his sister Lori. Yeah, I'm saying names. Gives a shit. Rock. I know. I just wanted to mention Lance because Keith was Keith was one thing, and they didn't really go into too much detail about Keith, just that he was gone. So holy shit, right? But then Lance was the first one that was my age. That's what it was. I mean, he was my age, and I had heard that he and some other people were a little up north, and they were at some theater competition, and they decided to drop some acid for the car ride back. Normally, well, not in my world, that does not sound like a good idea. But I can feel it for people that like can hold on to their psyche much better than I can. Give me a sec right here. I'm just gonna. Mm, mm. Um. Well, I mean, you could imagine what happened. Dropped some acid, got on the turnpike, whatever it was. You go, things kick in, things don't happen the way you would have liked them to, and the car gets into an accident, and Lance's life is taken away from him. I can see his face is clear as day right now. Kind of has like a spiky little a spiky little kind of like what they call like a mullet. It's like a little spiky in the front, but on the side, kind of like a wave. And then that was my boy, and he had the sweetest fucking face. And I, mm, a good friend of mine, she ran into the room that I was in at school. Mm. Or she frantically opened the door. I just remember hugs were had. And I remember going to his house, walking in, and there's pictures everywhere of him, and his girlfriend at the time was there. And it was just this kind of sit-down powwow kind of thing. I didn't stay long. I was with that girl, and there were some weirdnesses, you know. Like, he was really good friends with the girl that I was not with, but then his girlfriend's there. It's just weird shit, you know, the nonsense that happens at a funeral, a wake, or whatever. Those kinds of things get revealed, and so we lost Lance, and Lance was the first one. Lance was the first peer. I think that's when it started kicking in. I mean, I had my grandfather too, but grandfather's like older, cancer. Okay. Keith was like sudden. Okay. And I don't know how long I'd seen him before. I hadn't seen him before they told me about Keith. All right, I'm getting all fucking all over the place. I'm very sorry. Was that two O's? How many wells? Any perros? Perros. I have a cousin who was sitting on a bus bench with his best friend. Like, you know, just some stupid afternoon. Bus comes. His friend disappears. Because the bus took him with him. And my cousin, who's a pianist, breaks both of his hands in the process. Strange. I don't know how he's a fucking ray of sunshine in my life. I don't know how he deals with it on the inside to this day, you know? I can't imagine you're sitting next to your friend and then your friend's just gone. You know, when it's not a war type situation, right? And yeah, look, I'm not speaking to wars or, excuse me. Oh my goodness. Oh. Sorry, I'm just laughing at the way I said, oh my goodness. Oh, I'm not here to offend. You know that. There are people who have seen death way before I have, and way closer, and everything else. So I'm really don't want to really comment on how I feel. I don't know. Maybe I will. Now, I have seen death sort of splinter a family. We were all very, 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 very close. My whole family, extended family, all of the aunts, the cousins, the big time. And then my grandmother contracts Lou Gehrig's. I used to deliver medication for a pharmacy, and they didn't have GPS, they didn't have trackers or anything. So I would go anytime I'd had something close to the hospital, I would go and like hang out with her even if she was asleep or whatever. I would just go and hang. So I'm very, 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 very grateful to the job that I had at the time that I was able to do that. You know, sometimes I would stumble upon family members. That was so cool. Yeah, I know, I'm working, but nobody's waiting on me for the medicine. Oh, I should have said that. The medicine's like already, yeah. Nobody's, yeah. What am I? What am I? She lost the ability to speak, and her eyes were full of life, which is crazy when I guess you have a disease that just locks you up, but you're totally vibrant on the inside. That's a nice pleasant quirk life has in store for people, huh? Huh? If you don't like the cancer, you could have the Lou Gehrig's. I mean, I'm daring the universe to get a little more original. All right? Like, quit it. We're good. We've died by all of these ways already. Like, let's put a pause on things and rethink maybe how we can do this. Because this is getting fucking old. It's getting way old. And the weirdest part of it is the way people react to you, the sufferer. Right? You get the empathy because people, I do believe, have the empathy. I don't think it's just like a traditional thing to. I just. It feels like death really isn't that important anymore. Is that a good thing? Am I lying? Do I have it wrong? It almost seems like, oh no, really? Oh no, oh. But you'll have that paper on our desk on Monday morning? You know? You know what I mean? Yes, commerce can wait for no man. But it's a bizarre way. It's just bizarre how we've just like, meh. No, you still need to this, and you still need that, and you still need to this, and you still need that. Now, granted, I guess you're much better off than the person that is fucking dead. But it's like it's like oh, shit, if the sound's been so shitty. Sorry if I haven't been up on the mic. It's I lost my train of thought. You know why? I'll tell you why. I don't know if I'm supposed to be talking about this shit or not. Or should I give a fuck? But when I met my wife, she was in they have there's a situation that they found themselves in. Ugh, found themselves in such an essay phrase. Man, I need to be keeping up these essay phrases. Ugh. I am. I found myself truly. Fuck it. Why not? Let's talk about it because I could be actually meeting this person. My wife, through some shit that happened at her high school, befriended a gentleman. I'm just gonna say it like that. I know anyone associated with his victim would not want me to say something like that. But I've been communicating with him for like 5 years now, and might in fact meet him in person, go to the jail. But it's weird having befriended someone who took someone's life, and laugh with him and like read his stories, and it's an odd thing, right? To be so affected by death, but then befriend a murderer. Or fuck that, like watch a shit ton of horror, or watch a shit ton of true crime stuff, or befriend a murderer, or it's what I mean. What's the psychology behind that? You know, I realize how just surrounded by death, and I guess being in life is being surrounded by death, um, pending death. Uh, and I guess I bring up Zimmer Mike because it's the flip side. Like the dude who just shot them all up just across the street from me here, right there, just right there, straight bullet, anything could have. Ugh, that was a bad one. That was a shittier one. Uh, you just don't know. Like I'm sitting here, I'm sitting at the edge of my bed here, and you think, oh, I got these walls, I got this thing, and I got something blocking our window. Da, 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 but hey, when a dude's just blasting away, strangest things, right? Why I bring that up? Why? Like I understand why this dude killed who he killed. So crazy. I guess like look how we look at death. So death is what? Entertainment. Death is commerce, right? Are we so attracted to it because it is so intangible? So we don't know. But okay. Here it is. Here it is. Uh, like you're gone. That's it. That's it. The rest of eternity, you're gone. I don't know where you end up. I don't know what. I'm not going to speculate or anything, but you're gone. And none of us walk around going, hey, man, it's awesome you're still alive. Hey, it's a good thing you're still alive too, man. Can you believe it? No fucking way. Yeah, and somebody else over here is alive too. Are you fucking kidding me? They're alive too? Holy shit, let's have a barbecue. Why isn't life designed in that way? Why aren't we if we're the only species that has the awareness of death, of our own mortality, then why aren't we more predisposed to live? Why is living so fucking difficult when dying's the easiest thing you get to fucking do? Depending on how you're dying. You get my point. I don't get it. It's like no decisions. I would think every decision, even like, I don't know, if you work at a McDonald's, and you're like, hey, I'm going to go on a break. Hey, you make sure you still stay alive there. You want me to keep somebody to eye on you? Yeah, that'd be great. I have somebody keep an eye on me. Thanks. Yeah? Instead of, later, man, yeah, dude. Why isn't the holy shit, we're still alive? I mean, why doesn't every news program? Why don't they start every news program with, "Hey, everybody still alive? That's amazing. You're alive, I'm alive, we're alive. Let's do this thing before somebody dies, cuz that's what we hate." It's not I know I couldn't find anything to land funny because that's what we hate, and it's the only place it was going. But why isn't there? We do religion. We're so bent out of shape about religions and identities and pronouns and genders and all this shit. And it's just like, it's life or death. It's life or death. You're either alive or you're dead. It's binary. Right? That's a definition? Yeah. I think. Right. Why isn't... Life is talked about, life, you got to manifest this and you got to do that and, big energy and ba and do. And I see these things, I go, these are the most disingenuous motherfuckers on the face of the earth. You can see the fear behind people's eyes when they're like, big energies, hey, you keep it at the... Like, so the very thing I was arguing for, now I'm arguing against because I don't believe it for people who do it. Jesus. That would knock me back. That knocked me back. Oh my God. Maybe. I mean, am I conflating the two things? Or do I just want to rag on those people? Because I don't feel it from them. I guess because it's not, hey, you can die. They don't throw the dark in with the light. And I think that's what I'd be more attracted to. I'd be more about positivity for the sake of positivity. Feels terribly put on. If there isn't a little mix in there, just a little, hey, we don't have much time. It'd be nice. People were like, hey, we don't have much time. But I wonder if that would make people hurry more or do less. What do you think? Do you think people would hurry up more if they had less time? Or do you think they would just go, fuck it, I ain't got that much time, let's lay back? And maybe that's the way we're supposed to be looking at life? Looking at life in the, I guess, there's what's it called? It's not a contradiction, a paradigm or something where if you know you don't have a lot of time, then just enjoy the time you do have. So it wouldn't be like, oh my God, I got to get this done, I got to get it. It'd just be like, it actually makes a lot of things clearer when I'm told that there isn't so much time. And to be honest, you don't know, to be honest, I need a buzzer. You know what? Oh, I might get a little ding dong, right? And every time I hit an essay phrase, I ding, and we just move on. We don't bring any more attention to it. Gets a little ding, we move on. I think so. Because I like obstacles in me shows. It's what makes it interesting. It's not me just babbling away. It's me fucking figuring out what the fuck, right? But need a little more darkness for those manifesting people. It's just because it gets too culty. We have enough hashtags for that. But there is something lost. I think it may be just this country. I think other countries, they look at things differently. Case in point, I travel to, where were we? were we Athens? I think it was Athens. So we were traveling. We're in the car with this driver taking us to the hotel. So I'm seeing the city and how packed it is, and everything. But I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And oh no. It wasn't Athens. It was like you guys need the clarification. Yeah, thanks, Trav. Didn't care. Could have just put in the story, injected it, and that would have been good. I believe it was Santorini. Why do we always feel the need to correct ourselves even when the other person doesn't know shit anyway? What's the satisfaction we get out of it? At their expense. Anyway, we're driving on the side of a mountain. and I say to the driver, or I just say out loud, I'm like, this is the place where I can die. And the driver turns it around. Well, he doesn't turn around. He needs to keep his eyes on the road. The driver speaks up and goes, "Why would you want to come here to die? Come here to live." And I think that's the difference. So I think there is something to be said about other countries, or that dude's just enlightened like a motherfucker. I still talk to him. He's the shit. Can't wait to see him again. Can't wait to see that country again. And you don't get that here. You don't get that here at all. You get this, like, forget about death. It was just be in the light and the da-da-da-da. Now, I think there's some ancientnesses that we have co-opted, like the yogas and shit, where you're wrapping yourself up in a nice cosmic warm blanket. And you're doing some work. And I think you're doing the work towards it. Towards appreciating the scope of life and death. It could be, something like jiu-jitsu or something. I learned when I took a few classes. I can't remember when I learned more in such a short amount of time than I did when I was doing that. So maybe it's there. It's just our media really doesn't do it right. Which could be said for fucking everything else, right? Politics, the whole 9 yards. I don't want to shit on the fucking media. That's too fucking easy. What kind, you ask? It's a pre-roll. It's a cherry, like a cherry G? Cherry, is that? I think it's just saying cherry. Probably a cherry OG or something. Now, I don't know if I can get into this last bit. Because I don't really talk about it. And I have had therapy. I have had radical therapies, like not experimental shit, but not your normal talk nonsense. Not nonsense. Believe me, it's not nonsense. Go get your therapy. Don't fucking It's just Don't get cynical about that shit. But and I've probably this is probably long enough already, and I kind of I kind of peaked with my diatribe, maybe. Um, hmm. Phew. Uh, hmm. Listen, I'll try to do this. I don't know why I'm doing this. I have no end game for this, or point, except that there's. I think there is. People are like, hurry up, get to the point. Why don't you cut this out? Why don't you edit it? Why don't you? Well, it's happening in real time. I can't do anything for you because I'm trying to get to something important. And if I open it up, then we might be talking a little bit longer. And I don't know if I'm capable of that, ready for that. If this podcast even needs to go there, but uh, I feel like I feel like he needs his own episode. Of course, I feel like he needs his own series. Damn it, I should write it. But I joined the Have No Dad Club. Not so recently, but recently enough. And I don't think I would have gotten through it if it wasn't for, well, two of my friends in particular, because they had lost theirs. And knowing that, I love those two guys and love them to death. If I didn't have a wife, I'd take bullets for them. Uh, but if it wasn't for them, yeah. If I didn't know I was joining kind of a cool club, right? Because they're cool guys. Uh, um, so I had watched others lose theirs, and then I lose mine, and I'm there for when they're still, when the emergency workers were still telling me, or were telling me that he's all right. He can still rally and da 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 da. I'm like, oh wow wow. But maybe 20 minutes later, I'm taken from a small room to a bigger room, and the doctor tells me that my father didn't make it, that he tried his best. And he kept trying to bring his heart back, and what? And I had to. I don't know if I had to. I don't know what. Maybe it's just something I bring up in my brain, But I think I was the one that was like, that my dad wouldn't want us to see him, you know, in whatever state he was based on whatever work they had to do in order to try to keep my man with us. And, you spend 40 years on this earth, and suddenly you hear your mom wail with a frequency that only spouses know, or spouses are capable of channeling. And I think that frequency still bounces around in the back of me head. Um, it's a hell of a thing when you wake up in the morning with a dad and then you go to sleep that night without one. There was a lot of love. There was love at the house. I, you know, I wish it. I wish it for anybody else who hasn't gone through it. That you have the family and you have the friends that. Whew, oh, you don't see angels on Earth until someone's leaving it. And I don't think. I think the anger is I think the anger's down, maybe down to like a 20%. But that's because I'm on heavy medication and I've had to do experimental therapies and shit. Shit, if you think you can get through this kind of thing like without any of that shit, oh God bless. Mm. Yeah, that's a couple years later, and it's not, you know, these aren't the coolest of days because this is around the time of year that it all went down. So I got to watch his life wind down, and he must have had a lot of good karma, and he was a teacher, so he damn well better have had some good fucking karma for dealing with the kids and the parents and the thing and then the son. He was a physical education teacher. Dad was an athlete, triathlete, biking, swimming, running, marathons. He was a volleyball badass. He was called the Golden Touch, and the karma, yeah, the karma. Um, Shit, I kind of lost my place. I was just looking at the back of this Chris Isaac vinyl that Chris signed and he drew on, and I got to talk to him, and it's funny what I asked Chris Isaac when I met him. I didn't really ask him. I just thanked him for getting me through some shit, because there were some years there where it was just him and me, and a whole lot of chaos. And it was cool that he talked about something that he didn't talk about publicly. He had to have an operation on his uh, on his throat or something, and it was gonna fuck him up, and he wasn't gonna be able to sing again. And so he clearly fucked him up, and he found some way around it or something. I forget exactly what he said because I'm staring at like my idol. You'd think you would keep more of what he said, but I'm just like. But he talked about darkness and not letting that darkness get to you, and doing what you have to do in order to get out of it. And well, that was a tangent. I got to see my dad's life wind down, and it felt like a checkoff list, we had a Thanksgiving with the whole family like we never had before, and it had been a while since he saw his little nieces, nephew, whatever. Nephews. There's no nephews. Whatchamacallit? we went out to his favorite place to eat, and it was with his friends too. He had invited his friends who had never come before. Well, maybe one. Um, and that was a huge deal, and just things were it was like it's like the ending of Titanic when Rose sees everybody in the end at the high on the banister and sees everybody still alive. Like that's kind of what that was, but just not but not everybody's not dead. Except my dad was going into except dad, is going. But we were all still alive. Like it was this like curtain call. It was a curtain call for crying out loud. And my dad interrupted a phone call with that I was talking with my mom, and he interrupted it just saying, "I love you, man." Because I had expressed like I was worried about him a little because I thought he was underweight and I was starting to be the guy to be able to be like, "Hey, old man," not old man. He hated old man, but hey, dad, yeah, you taking this? You doing this? He was a stubborn man, stubborn fine man. I get my justice, not social justice shit, but just like justice, just fairness. I get my fairness shit from him for sure. I feel like I'm more him than I am. Than I am myself, which kind of sucks because we spent a lot of therapy to get me like to be a whole person, and here I am saying that my dad's like, must be 75% me. The 25%'s what I do with my wife. With the naughty bits. That's what we do there. But then once that's over, then my dad comes and takes me over, and So, interestingly enough, I haven't cried yet or anything. So maybe this story that I have in my head of my dad's death has become more comforting than I ever would have guessed. Or maybe some of the work has worked. Or it could be the antipsychotic. I'm not sure. But I would definitely like to do, a little biographical thing on Pops. Pops, I like Pops. A friend of mine used to call his dad Pops, and he lost his dad. We're just a bunch of orphans. We're a bunch of boys with no fathers, and that's some shit, man. I don't know what it is for daughters or for especially for spouses and for parents if they're still around, if they're still alive, or their own siblings. Oh. I definitely feel more anger around the time that this happened and leading up, even though I know in my mind that it was fucking awesome. Like it was a great way to go. Like if I had a choice, I'd sign me up for the Pops one. Pops, yes. I have a rebate. Okay, so this isn't funny. Whoever said that this was supposed to be? There'll be funner episodes, but nobody said they'd be funny. For Christ's sake, we're dealing with the, that word that people love to sell articles with, but when it comes to actually philosophically dealing with this shit, we just don't no part of it whatsoever. Isn't that weird? Like we only like brush it under the rug for like so we can make a couple bucks, and then we take it out and do the thing, then we put it back in, and it becomes this popular culture thing. I just think that death is the single most important experience of your life, and the fact that no one talks about it in a constructive manner, in an expressive manner, or some shit. Not just, oh, he's dead, can't believe he's dead, oh, he's this, oh, he's that. Like, okay, yeah, this one died, this. Like, I just can't believe this isn't more of our. I'm not saying we have to obsess on it or we have to dwell on it, but fucking Christ. I mean, the things that I talk about on a daily basis that could be what's the word? That can be replaced with some like death talk. Hey, hi, how are you? Are you good? Are you good? What do you need? Is there anything that I could help you with? I know people. You know what I mean? I don't mean to make a world of helpies, but there is something there that I think I'm on to. I just don't know how the fuck to implement it, right? Well, I don't know how long we've been on. I don't know if there was a point to any of this. I just talked about people that I know that died, friends and family. And what? Talked about what's wrong with our day-to-day exchanges. So fakey, gicky, just we couldn't handle it. That's what it is. We as a people, we can't handle it. There's going to be the people that know what's up, and there's going to be the people that will continue to pretend. I just feel sorry for the pretenders if they haven't lost somebody really close to them yet. 'Cause let me tell you, you can't pretend your way out of death. Thanks for listening. Roig Rage, oh. Roig Rage.